Hello and welcome to all of you. I am Anil Arora, faculty in Electronics and Communication Engineering Department. Today we will discuss session 3 of power amplifiers. In the first session, we discussed introduction and need of power amplifiers along with its classifications. In the second session, we discussed Class A amplifier in detail. In today's session, we will discuss Class B amplifier. In that, we will discuss amplifier operation with push-pull operation, its efficiency, power dissipation, circuit diagrams, and crossover distortion. Class B amplifiers. As we discussed in session 1, in Class B amplifiers, the quotient point or the Q point is set at the cutoff point. Here, in this diagram, we can see that this is the Q point which is set at this cutoff point. As we know, in the output characteristics of amplifiers, we have load line. This is the load line, and there are 2 points. One is the saturation point, this one, and one is the cutoff point. And in Class B amplifier, the Q point is set at the cutoff point. So for this kind of power amplifiers, where the Q point is set at the cutoff point, we have the output like this. In this, we can see that for the full swing of input cycle, we get only half cycle in the output. This is the half cycle, and for the rest of the half cycle of input, we do not get any output signal at the output. Okay, so this is the Class B amplifier. For Class B amplifier, we get only half cycle at output. To get the full cycle at the output, we have to use 2 transistors as Class B amplifier. One for one half cycle and another for another half cycle. It means if we want full output, we have to use 2 transistors or 2 Class B amplifier. One transistor will be used for positive cycle and one transistor will be used for negative cycle. By using 2 transistors or 2 Class B amplifiers, we can get the full output swing. Since one part of the circuit pushes the signal high and another part of the circuit pulls the signal down, hence this is called the push-pull operation. So let's understand this push-pull operation. What is the push-pull operation? Let's understand the operation of push-pull amplifier. For full push-pull operation, we need 2 transistors which are acting in the Class B mode. So here we have the transistor Q1 which is acting in the Class B mode. Here also we have the second transistor Q2 which is also acting in the Class B mode. Now we connect the simultaneously input to the both of the transistors. So if the output from Q1 and output from Q2 is connected to the load, then since the Q1 is acting in the Class B mode, it provides the output in one cycle only. Here we have the input which consists of 2 cycles, positive half cycle and negative half cycle, and Q1 is conducting in the positive half cycle and provides the output. And the transistor Q2 is also acting in the Class B mode and is biased in such a way that it provides the negative cycle at the output. Combining the 2 outputs, one from the transistor Q1 and one from the transistor Q2, we get the complete cycle at the output, the positive cycle as well as the negative cycle, where the positive cycle has been provided by transistor Q1 and the negative cycle has been provided by the transistor Q2. Hence, this is called the push-pull operation. The transistor Q1 pushes the signal up in the output and the transistor Q2 pulls the signal down at the output. Hence, this is called the push-pull operation. In this kind of operation, one constraint is there that the transistor Q1 and Q2 should be of matched parameters. It means the Q1 and Q2 should match each other. Otherwise, there will be some harmonic distortion in the output. Efficiency. For the efficiency calculation of power amplifier, we need to calculate input and output power. The output power is the AC power which is delivered to the load, and the input power is DC power which is taken from the supply battery. Before going further, let's discuss two configurations of push-pull amplifier. So here we have two kinds of push-pull amplifier, in which we have two class B amplifiers. This is the one half circuit, and here we have another half circuit. And here we have connected the load. So by connecting these two half circuits, this terminal we have connected to ground, and here we have connected the input. Okay. In the here we can see that for this half circuit we have one DC supply, that is the plus VCC, and for this half circuit we have another DC supply, that is the minus VCC. This is one kind of push-pull amplifier. For the another kind of push-pull amplifier, we have one DC source, that is the one VCC voltage DC source. So here we can connect this as here we have connected to the ground, and from here itself we can connect to the load. And similarly in the input section we have connected our input. This is the one half circuit, and this is the another half circuit. So we can see that in this kind of circuit we have two DC supplies. One is this plus VCC source in the one half circuit, and in the second half circuit we have another DC source, that is the minus VCC. But in this kind of circuit we have only one DC power source, that is the plus VCC, and the another end of the circuit we have connected to the ground. So in the class B amplifier operation, the current drawn from a single power supply source has the form of full wave rectified signal. So in this circuit, when we take the output to the load, this is of the form, that is the full wave circuit, and the power is taken from the one DC supply, that is this VCC. And in this kind of circuit we have two power supplies, one here and one here. From this we have this kind of output, and from this DC supply we have this kind of output. So we can say that for two power supplies has the form of half wave rectified signal from each supply. In either case, the value of average current drawn can be expressed as IDC is equal to 2 by pi into IM. Here we can see that this is the average of DC current which is flowing through the power supply. Whether we are using this kind of circuit or we are using this kind of circuit, in both of the cases, for the full output containing both the cycles, the average or DC current which is taken from the supplies, we can written it as IDC is equal to 2 by pi into IM, where IM is the peak value of the current. Hence, the DC power which is taken from the power supply, we can write it as PIDC is equal to IDC into VCC. Here we have written VCC since at the Q point the value of voltage is VCC. Since the Q point is at cutoff point, as we remember, we see the output characteristics. Here we have the Q point. So at this Q point, the value of the voltage is VCC. So we can write it as the input DC power is PIDC is equal to IDC into VCC. Now let's calculate the AC power. So the AC power which is given to load, that is the output AC power. As we know that we are getting the AC signal in the output, so the AC power is Vrms into Irms. As we have discussed in earlier sessions also, the output AC power is Vrms into Irms, and where Vrms is equal to Vm by root 2 and Irms is equal to Im by root 2. Hence we have AC output power is Vm Im by 2. That is the AC output power. Now to calculate the efficiency, we have the formula eta is equal to P naught AC divided by P in DC into 100%. So in the last slide we calculated P in DC is equal to, as we discussed, that is equal to IDC into VCC, where IDC is equal to 2 by pi Im. So P 2 by pi Im into VCC. This is the P naught DC, and we have P naught AC is equal to Vm Im by 2. Now to calculate the power efficiency, now to efficiency is equal to Vm Im by 2 whole divided by 2 by pi Im into VCC, that is 100%. Okay, so here we can write it as pi by 4 Vm Im divided by Im VCC into 100%. Okay, so here we can cut this. So we have pi by 4 Vm by VCC into 100%. As we know that the Q point is at cutoff point, so we can show that Vm is equal to, that is VCC minus V minimum. This is the Vm in case of output divided by VCC into 100%. So we can write it as eta is equal to pi by 4 1 minus V minimum by VCC. So this is the general expression for efficiency of class B amplifier. Now for the maximum efficiency, to calculate the maximum efficiency, for the maximum efficiency, we know that if you draw the output characteristics, here we have the load line, here we have the cutoff point. So for maximum efficiency, the output voltage swing is maximum. It means if this is the VCC, that is the VCEQ, and the minimum VCE is equal to 0. This is for the maximum efficiency. So if we put V minimum equal to 0, we will get the maximum efficiency. That will equal to this pi by 4 minus 1 minus 0 into 100%. So we have the pi by 4 into 100%. That is equal to 78.5%. So we can show that, or we can say that in case of class B amplifier, the maximum efficiency is equal to 78.5%. As that was in class A amplifier, it was 50% maximum, but in case of class B amplifier, it is 78.5%, which is much more than the class A amplifier. Now our next topic is the power dissipation. What is the power dissipation? As we know, the power to the circuit is given by the supply batteries, and the power delivered to the load is the AC power. So the difference between the power delivered by power supply and the power given to the load is the power dissipation by the circuit. We can understand it as, suppose we have this amplifier, the power which is given to the amplifier is the DC power, that is the PIDC, and the power which is given to the load is the AC power. So for the efficiency, we divide the output power by input power, but for the power dissipation, we subtract the input power minus DC power, the power given by the supply battery, and this is the power given to the load. So the difference in between the two is the power dissipated by the transistors. Since in the push-pull amplifier, we are using two transistors, so I have written here is the 2P, 2Q. We know that Pi DC is equal to pi by 4, 2 by pi. Here we have the DC power is equal to 2 by pi into Im into VCC, and P naught AC is equal to Im Vm by 2. So this is the power dissipated by the transistors in the circuit. To find out the power dissipated by one transistor, we can have is equal to 1 by 2 of this quantity, that is the power dissipated by total two transistors. So this is the power dissipated by one transistor, and this is the power dissipated by the complete circuit containing two transistors. So the next is power amplifier circuits. As we remember, we have two blocks for the push-pull operation, which will give us the complete output cycle. Here we have first part, and here we have the second part of the circuit, and we connected the input to the common input signal. Here we have connected the load, and here we have connected the ground. So if these two circuits are using the same type of transistor, then there should be some phase splitter circuit at this point. It means if we are giving this input signal to the input, then we should have this signal at the input of the first part, and we should have this signal in the input of the second part, so that in the positive cycle this circuit may work, and in the second cycle this circuit may work. So we should have one phase inversal phase splitter circuit at this point. So we can obtain this phase splitting by using the transformer. So if we use the transformer primary on the input side, and if we use the secondary on the other side of the circuit, we can have the phase splitters signals. So if this is a positive signal, this is a negative signal, we have here positive, negative, negative, positive. So this signal becomes this kind of signal, and this signal becomes this signal. Now these two inputs may be given to the two blocks. The first half part may be given this signal, and the second half part may be given this signal, so that these two circuits can work together to produce the complete output at the load. The another circuit we can use for obtaining these two reverse polarity signals by using the transistor. Here we can see we can use transistor circuit. As we know, this is the transistor amplifier circuit. We can take output from this side, or we can take output from this point. These two signals, if we apply the AC signal at this point, then this is the signal with reverse polarity, and this is the signal with the same polarity as the input signal. So by using transistor amplifier having the unity gain, we can have two signals. One, when we take from the collector of the transistor, this is in the reverse polarity, and we can take the output from the emitter point. From this point, this is the with the same polarity of the input signal. So by this means also, these two are called the push-pull signals. By this way also, we can obtain reverse polarity signal using one input signal. Now let's discuss the complete transformer coupled push-pull circuit. So this is the transformer coupled push-pull circuit. So let's draw the circuit first. Here we have two NPN transistors. This is the output section, and here also we have connected a transformer. And here it is the load, that is the RL. Now for proper biasing, here we will connect the transformer as we discussed earlier. This is the center trap transformer. We will draw it again. So we'll connect to the base of the transistors. And this is the primary of this transformer, where we'll connect the input signal. In the form of the sinusoidal waveform. So it has the solar loss test, right? This is the transistor Q1, this is the Q2, this is the VCC, R1, R2, PI input voltage. So and this is the biasing network. And here we have again we have connected here the plus VCC. This is the N1, and here also we have the N1. This is exact the center trap transformer, and here it is the N2. In this direction the load current will flow. Here we will have the current I1 which will flow due to transistor Q1, and here we have the current I2 which will flow due to transistor Q2. So in this circuit we have four sections. One is this section. So we can say this as the phase splitting circuit. Phase splitting circuit. And this is this one. This is the push-pull connection. Push-pull circuit connection. Here we have the push-pull output transformer. This one. Push-pull output transformer. And here we have the load. So let's discuss its operation. So when we apply the input signal at this point, first of all we will have this positive cycle. So during this positive cycle we will have this positive cycle here and this negative cycle here. Since these two are the same type of transistors, NPN transistors, so both will be on when the positive input is applied, along with VCC when this input signal is superimposed. So during this positive cycle the Q1 will be on, and since this is a negative cycle the Q1 will be off. So during the first half cycle when Q1 is on and Q2 is off, then the current will flow, the I1 current will flow through these transistors. Due to this current, the voltage will be developed across this primary section, and we will have the half cycle of the one cycle of the output in the load. So during the second half negative cycle, this will be negative cycle and this will be positive cycle. Hence this transistor will be off in the second half cycle and this transistor will be on. So when this transistor will be on, the current I2 will flow, which is having the reverse direction. Earlier the direction of I1 was upward, now the direction of I2 is downward. So a reverse polarity, the second cycle of reverse polarity will be obtained at the RL, the load resistance. Hence we will get the negative cycle. So during the positive half of the cycle, we will receive the positive half in the output, and during the negative half cycle of the input, we will receive the negative half in the output. So this is the working of transformer coupled push-pull circuit. The second kind of circuit is the complementary symmetry circuits. In the transformer coupled push-pull circuit, we have seen that we have used two transistors of the same type, NPN, and this is also NPN. But in the case of complementary symmetry circuits, we will use two different types of transistors. So let's discuss the complementary symmetry circuits. Complementary symmetry circuits. As the name suggests, we are using the transistors which are complementary to each other. Suppose one transistor we have used is NPN and the second transistor is the PNP. So this is NPN and this is the PNP. The one advantage of this kind of circuit is that we do not use the phase splitting circuits. So let's discuss its operation. So first draw the complete circuit diagram. So we have one DC power supply, VCC1. Here we have the VCC2. And this is the load resistor RL. And we connect these two transistors with the same point. And here we put one capacitor. This is the input signal. Since these two are the complementary to each other, the NPN transistor will be on when we apply the positive signal as the base. It means it will be on when the positive signal will be applied. The PNP transistor will be on when the negative signal will be applied. So hence this is called the complementary symmetry circuit. Symmetry means the parameters of these two circuits are matched or the similar to each other, so that there should be no distortions in the output. So let's discuss this working. So when we apply the input signal, then during the positive half cycle, both transistors will get the positive half cycle. Here we change this cycle, so we can draw it again. So during the positive half cycle, to the base of both transistors, we will get the positive cycle. During this, the NPN transistor will be on and the PNP transistor will be off. When the NPN transistor will be off, the current I1 will flow through this direction. This is the transistor I1. So hence we will get the positive in this way. The positive cycle in the output, we will get the positive cycle. During the negative cycle of input signal, we will receive the negative cycle at the base of both transistors. So during the negative half cycle, this will not be there. So during the negative half cycle, the NPN transistor will be off and the PNP transistor will be on. Hence, the current I2 will be flow in reverse direction. This is the current I2. During this, we will get the positive here, negative here, polarity here. So hence, the reverse polarity cycle we will receive at the output. So by this way, during the positive cycle, we will receive the positive cycle at the output, and during the negative cycle, we will receive the negative cycle at the output. So this is the action of complementary symmetry circuits, in which we have used two parameters are matched of two transistors, but these two are of the opposite types. One is the PNP and the another is PNP. And the advantage of this kind of circuit is that we do not require any phase splitting circuit in the input. There are two disadvantages of complementary symmetry circuits. Number one, we have to use we need two power supplies. Here we can see that we have used the power supply VCC1 and VCC2. And second disadvantage is the crossover distortion. So let's discuss the crossover distortion. Let's draw the circuit again. Here we have the VCC1 and here we have the VCC2. and we have connected the base of two transistors, and by using capacitor we will connect the input signal. Now, for the practical case, in the output we should receive the complete cycle of the signal, amplified version of the input signal. It should be complete distortionless cycles. But here we can see that this is the NPN transistor and this is the PNP transistor. If these transistors is made of silicon, then we need minimum 0.7 volt voltage at the base of transistor for this transistor to be on. Before 0.7 volt, this transistor will be off. So let's draw the input signal. Until it is 0.7 volt, the transistor will be off. This is off for the complete positive cycle, and this transistor will be off until the input reaches to the 0.7 volt. So up to this point, the output will be 0. So we can say that up to 0.7 volt, the output will be 0. When it is more than 0.7 volt, from this point to again this point, so we can write this. So this point to this point, the transistor will be on and we will receive the output. Again, when it will be less than 0.7 volt, up to this point, our output will be 0. Okay. So again, for the PNP transistor also, until it will reaches to minus 0.07 volt, the output will be 0. So the output will be 0. Again, we will receive the output when the input is more than 0.7 volt. So here we can see that this is the crossover distortion. We are so let's draw again. So here we can see that we can get this kind of output, and this is the crossover distortion. Crossover distortion. This crossover distortion can be removed by using the class AB amplifier. What is the class AB amplifier? In the class A amplifier, we have the Q point in the center of load line. In class B amplifier, we have Q point at the cutoff point. And in case of class, this is class A, this is class B. And for the class AB amplifier, we have the Q point at this point. So this is in between the class A and class B. We can remove the crossover distortion problem by using the class AB amplifier. Hence, this was all about class B amplifier. Thank you. In the next section, we will discuss class AB amplifier, in which we will remove the crossover distortion. Thank you.